Hi everyone, my name's MadMatt Lugos and welcome back to Metro Exodus. So last time we finally escaped the bridge dwellers and the Tsarfish and the whole Volga region. We robbed the boat, we managed to get in stealthily. It took me a lot of attempts. I had to take a break and come back to it and figure it out. And then we got through the bridge. We weren't violent, we didn't kill anyone. And the whatever his name, I've forgotten his name now, the paladin, whatever his name was, you know, the Pope of the fish people, bridge dwellers. They let us through kind of peacefully, really. They didn't want any bloodshed, so I'm quite pleased with that. Now we're in spring, apparently, so we're going to be moving in seasons, hopefully. So maybe we're going to get some really pretty scenery. It won't just be kind of miserable, slushy snow, bogs, and all that kind of stuff. Maybe we're going to get kind of a lush environment. Who knows? Let's see where we end up. I imagine we're just going to be on the Aurora for a little bit, then we're going to get sidetracked again, attacked or something. Yeah, usually, that's what I'm expecting.
Artyom.
Hello.
Wake up, dear.
Oh, who else is here?
Is he up yet?
God damn it.
Artyom, the colonel wants you on the bridge. See you later.
Come on, wake up.
How's your cough, Anna? Don't give me that look, Anna.
You did a great job there. We're not home anymore, so we'd all better act like you did. Smoothly. It's not like there's many of us humans left now. So I hope someday we will be able to trust others just because. Because they are people too. Am I bothering you? Sorry.
No,
I'm
not at
in
all.
a philosophical mood today.
God, Anna's just gorgeous, isn't she? Jesus Christ. What have we got here? Nice. All right. Could I look at this before and I just couldn't find it? Yeah, I could swear I saw this somewhere. Never mind. When it has been years since anyone's heard anything but static and white noise on the radio, who could still believe we're not alone on this earth? My wife, my comrades from the Order, my friends, people from my station, nobody believes me. They're sure that there's nothing on the radio, sure that save for us who hid in Moscow Metro, there were no survivors of the last war. We're alone on this planet, and in the Metro it's common knowledge. But I did hear that call on the radio with my own ears. Yes, it was immediately droned out by the static. But I had heard it, which means that somewhere out there under the skies there's still a habitable place. We're not doomed to live the rest of our lives underground. Still, nobody believes me. Winter. We stopped 100 clicks from Moscow to check our Geiger counters. The thing is, they're all in the green. As if they're in a conspiracy. Still, this amazing piece of news doesn't really impress anyone that much. The guys are all confused as to what to do next, and I'm just waiting for answers. And hoping the commander, whom until recently I trusted implicitly, is going to be extremely persuasive. I thought I was going to sneeze. There we go. To be extremely persuasive in his reasoning. Good lord. Oh, this is a long one. The Volga. After all those years in the underground, the air of the surface seemed incredibly fresh, intoxicating. That was not the cause of the crew's euphoria. Our journey finally had a definite purpose provided by the transmission from the government bunker in the Urals. We spent 20 years thinking that neither the government nor military high command had survived. As it turned out, they were still around. Where were they while we were eating each other alive in the Metro? We had lots of questions to ask them once we reached Yamantau. Yamantau, I'm saying it like a Japanese word. Yamantau. Yamantau. If we ever would. The ruins of our country were under enemy control, according to Miller. and we would have to fight through to our goal. A small team against the occupation armies. What chance did we have to succeed, to get some answers? Yet, setting out on our recon mission, Anna and I did not ponder these questions. We just kept filling our lungs with that sweet fresh air, splashing about the spring puddles like children out for the first walk after a long sickness. When I docked the old and surprisingly battered but still surprisingly watertight boat at the goal, it became apparent why our arrival terrified the locals. These fanatics are for some reason convinced that it was electricity that brought about mankind's demise, so they avoid any and all technology like the plague. On the other hand, they have a grain of reason in their belief, for technical progress did in fact enable our self-destruction. They didn't get me with their trap thanks to a little girl and her mother who had been held by the fanatics in that murky and damp ruin for about a year. If the locals would do such things, was there any real hope that they'd be inclined to let us cross the bridge? At least I was able to help Katya and Nastya escape the church while remaining unseen by the paladins who'd arrived from the bridge to spring the trap. Now we knew everything we ever wanted to know about the cultists and even more. So we hoped we could find a way of persuading them to let us through. Katya and Nastya didn't just tell us about the fanatics, but also about Crest, a travelling mechanic hated by the fanatics because of his trade. It's their loss, really. They can go back to using flint tools for all we care, while we're lucky to have such a versatile handyman in our crew now. While I was out looking for Crest, Anna managed to get into an adventure of her own. She fell down some cellar and hit her head, knocking herself out and breathing in some poisonous fumes from the chemicals abandoned there. Who knows how many years ago? She seemed to have suffered no serious injury though, as I was still mad at her father. His paranoia went way too far, making us all see enemy banners in every old rag. We found no occupying forces in this backwater. Even the chemicals in the cellar seemed to be wholly domestic. Luckily, they were long past their expiry date, or so it seemed. Getting the rail car left by Crest in the abandoned loading terminal wasn't easy. The half-flooded building was where the enormous catfish, one of the pillars of the local crazy parody of a religion, made its lair. I must give the fanatics their due though. They did turn the building into a veritable shrine, even though housed not just the catfish, but also hordes of human-like mutants, which were, of course, overjoyed to see me. The enormous mutated catfish the locals were terrified of didn't stop us. I found it funny, though, that they would address their prayers to that fish. Could man make a god out of anything? Could the degenerates we've been fighting even be called men, though? I don't know. Maybe it was just fighting the mutants, but it felt like he was helping us, maybe. At the end of the day, I had successfully exchanged some ammo for a rail car in great condition, more than capable of tugging the passenger carriage that had brought Katya to this accursed place one day back to the Aurora. I had to take some trash out first though. Wading through mud amongst the rusty railroad carriages and dead husks of abandoned buildings, I had for some reason expected to have left the bandits, along with Moscow's poisonous air, far back now. Far back. Now I do, of course, understand that it was rather silly of me. There's no changing the human nature, and anarchy could only make the worst qualities of it present themselves. The beautiful is always unique, while the ugly is surprisingly uniform. These bandits, were they hardened criminals or just people left desperate and robbed of most of their humanity by the war that had blown over them, differed from their metro counterparts by clothes and names at most. Their actions, robbing, murdering and capturing innocent people to sell them into slavery, were exactly the same. My opinion of the fanatics notwithstanding, only a complete and utter bastard could have left them in the hands of those bandits. Naturally, the bandits would keep terrorizing the locals afterwards. They might even be torturing some new victims at this very moment, but at least I saved somebody, simply because I could not have done otherwise. It was pointless to even try to talk the fanatics into letting us cross that bridge, so our only option was to take the matter into our own hands, and lower the movable section of the bridge regardless of their opinion on that. The problem was we couldn't really get onto that bridge from the shore, so we had to use the last remaining path of entry, the river, where the fanatics couldn't expect us from. That path could only be rendered accessible with the help of a tugboat we would rent from the river traders. Luckily, the trader's captain proved to be no fool and surrendered immediately after glancing into the barrels of our weapons trained on his head. The boat's crew remained completely oblivious of our infiltration until we took the situation under control, so no blood was spilled. Yes! For us, the bridge was little more than an obstacle to cross, but for the fanatics, it was a lot more. It was their safe haven from the terrible demons of electricity, their home, their temple, and their fortress. No wonder they weren't exactly keen on letting just anyone through. That said, their guards were sure less than competent, lulled into complacency by the safety of their home ground, so much so that Duke and I managed to sneak into the very heart of their cult completely undetected. All that stealth and special operation training Miller had us go through definitely paid off, and we got a drop on Silencius, who was left with no option but to surrender. We left Folger behind. There we met people who had spent all these years living in the open and never heard about the war still going on in the conditions we had to tolerate living in the metro. When I received the signals from the survivors outside of Moscow for the first time, I thought the people of the surface would be different from us, would be free from fear and hopelessness. In the metro, we knew we weren't living, but merely passing time before death. So for some reason I expected the people who knew they had a proper tomorrow to be somehow wiser, more free and noble than us. I was wrong. They were just as miserable and lost as we were. Perhaps the problem was not the metro but us all along. If here on the surface we continue doing the same things we did underground, we might never get a chance to build a future. A vast world stretches before us, and I'm sure we'll find what we're looking for if the occupying forces don't get us along the way. Interesting, man. I love diary entries in games, man. Especially for a silent protagonist, it's vital, right? I know we're kind of role-playing as Artyom, which is the kind of point of a silent protagonist, but kind of contemplating humanity and what human beings do to each other in the absence of a hierarchy, I guess. Everyone's scrambling for survival, for power, and you know they are vying with dangerous things in the environment, right? It's a very wild world out here now with all the mutants, the Nasalises. So, and we got through everything without killing people, and we saved a few people. And we'll read this short entry about spring, and then we'll go talk to miserable Miller. We left Folger behind. The endless expanses of Russia stretched before us now. The bridge dwellers had finally decided to believe that we were not demons and let us past. Anna was right. We invaded their world, and it's not up to us to destroy it, no matter how stupid it may seem. Electricity is a sin. Is that really worse than the lies we were told in the metro about how the whole world was dead and there was nowhere to go? Everybody in the tunnels bought that convenient lie. Once we reach Yamantau, we will, at least, know if that lie was justified, since so far we haven't met any signs of enemy occupation. Oh, character entries! Guys, we're going to be here for a while. I'm going to read all these because I'm worried we could have read all these before. God, Anna is so pretty, isn't she? Compared to, I mean, she didn't look like this in Metro Last Light. Maybe she just had a lot of thick layers on in Metro Last Light. Never mind. Alright, Anna, my Anna. From the very beginning, I thought I was not worthy of you. What was I? A nerdy guy from a backwater station, a dreamer, hearing voices in his head, an adventure seeker. And you, the most beautiful girl in the Metro, the only daughter of the legendary Colonel Miller, the best sniper of the Spartan Order. But how did you put it? There were lots of hard-boiled guys around. God, how much have we been through together? We had our brightest days and really dark ones. Our feelings would die out and rekindle again. I even tried to leave, but couldn't go too far. You wanted a normal man, but you still accepted me as I am. You were the only one who didn't consider me mad when I spent days on the surface listening to the radio in fruitless attempts of receiving signals from the other survivors. You knew that every such sortie meant more radiation exposure for me, and less chances for healthy children should we ever have them. And you would still let me go. You didn't prohibit me from dreaming. I always felt your gaze on me when you would cove my... What? Cove? When you would cover my back in combat, and when I would lose my way. I was always in your field of view. I always knew that nobody could ever replace you. My personal guardian angel of death. If this is not love, what is? Anna, you wanted to believe me and you couldn't. You tried to not pay attention to your father and you did. The Colonel firmly believes that our country is occupied and that the war is still going on, and that makes us jumpy. Makes us expect an attack at every turn. Makes us look for traces of enemy presence everywhere. He has us riled up and Anna is not immune to that. She was so eager to find the occupying forces in that tiny abandoned village near the bridge over Volga that she saw an American banner in a mere old t-shirt. She went to investigate and fell through the roof of an old chemical storage silo. Luckily, the chemicals seemed to have been long since expired and Anna got away with just a few bruises. Needless to say, there was not a trace of foreign troops' presence anywhere close. Yeah, I think she might be sick though. She was still coughing a bit at the start of that last mission. Miller. Colonel Sviatoslav Konstantinovich Melinikov, the founder and the permanent commander of the Order of Sparta. Miller picked and trained each Spartan individually. He was the only one to come to the rescue of my home station when we were under attack by the Dark Ones. He was the only one to stand between the communists and the Nazis and prevent the conflict, which could well spell the ultimate end of our civilization. Excuse me. It was Miller who accepted me into the Order and blessed my union with Anna, his only daughter. I became his son-in-law but could never amass the courage to call him Dad. Nothing but Colonel, with a Sir, of course. In the D6 defense, the Colonel lost his best fighters and his old self. Something is forever broken in him. He became cold, completely intolerant of any dissent. Sometimes I feel he's sorry he didn't object to his daughter marrying me. He would have probably preferred Hunter as his in-law, but Hunter is missing, and I dragged his daughter into a maelstrom none of us might ever emerge from. I dragged the Colonel into the worst adventure of his life. He had to commit high treason to save his daughter, with me in tow. Sorry, because it's all in caps, it kind of throws me off. He's convinced that the war is still going on, that Moscow had to fake its own death to prevent the final murderous strike from being launched against it. But Anna is still his daughter and I am still one of his soldiers, so he, in his advanced age, risks everything he has. His reputation, his position in the metro, the most of his order, everything to save us too, and maybe somehow get himself out of this mess. We're going to the Yamantu mountain, where the Supreme Command headquarters is located. Only the true government of our destroyed country could now pardon the Colonel for treason, of course, if they agreed to even listen to him at all. There's one problem though. It's been a few days since we left Moscow. A few days, yeah. But we have yet to find a trace of the occupying forces. Very true. Damir is probably the calmest of all the crew members. Damir is also extremely reliable. He'll always be there to help. He always does the hardest part of any job, goes on the toughest missions, and then, instead of taking the well-earned respect and gratitude as one would expect, he starts blushing and saying he had nothing to do with success, and it all just kind of happened that way. There's only one painful issue for Damir, and that's his name given to him by his father, along with half his blood. Damir can't forgive his father for leaving, going as far as to deny being his bloodkin. Was he the one who played the guitar? I'm worried we didn't give the guitar to anyone. Duke. Alright, Duke of Darkness, Igor Dukov, the youngest, the bravest, and the craziest of us. Some join the Order out of desperation, others to protect people from dangers, but Duke is just desperately in love with the adventure. Whenever the Colonel asks for volunteers, Duke is always first to shout, me, no matter how hard and dangerous the mission ahead may be. A shame we don't have any medals in the Order, otherwise Duke would be plastered with them. He keeps looking up to the more experienced fighters, competing with them for the most kills, missions, and wounds. For some reason, he pays particular attention to comparing his achievements with mine. Perhaps it's because I'm closest to his age. Anna once said about him, "Quit your whining, Artyom. There are people here who dream of becoming like you." About Duke, was she right? Was she right? Igor likes being called the Duke of Darkness, but you can hardly find a lighter-hearted guy. He is but a brat, taking crazy risks all the time, but Lady Luck smiles to the brave. If not for the trick he played on Solantius, that old obscurant, our whole operation could have failed. Duke, my friend, your star is undoubtedly on the rise, and soon you will outshine us all. We be of one blood, ye and I, and I'm proud of it. Good old Yermak. God, it's just taken a while. I'm happy. I don't mind though. It's kind of taking me back to Life is Strange, reading all the diary entries. I love it. The Aurora's permanent helmsman, Yermak knows every detail down to the smallest bolt and feels every change in the work of any of her numerous and, truth be told, quite worn-out mechanisms with his heart. Yermak fit into our group so easily and naturally, it seems he was with us since forever. And yet, Anna and I met him on a Hanseatic base where Yermak first helped me and my wife and then led us in the hijacking of our beloved cruiser. Still, with Yermak's background, it's a small wonder he decided to leave Moscow with us. At the time of our meeting, we had only just learned of Hansa executing everyone trying to enter or leave Moscow. But Yermak had been living with this terrible knowledge for months. First out of fear for his daughter's life, then, after she succumbed to her illness, out of sheer hopelessness. But now he's free, just like the rest of us, and if we ever come back to Moscow, we'll settle our scores with Hanseatic leadership together. Yermak says that every man has a destination in life, a place where fate leads him to. And whenever life becomes hard, sometimes unbearably so, I always recall his words. This might be the end of the line, but it's still not your destination. Get up, walk on. Thank you, Yermak. Idiot. Idiot chose his nickname out of natural humility, or perhaps simply in honor of one of Dostoevsky's characters. In fact, he's anything but, being the most educated and well-read soldier in the Order, landing the position of Miller's right-hand man back in the Metro. The question is, what does he really know about the reasons for people being held in the tunnels, the war that could be still going on, as well as who is really in control of the Metro? Idiot likes talking a lot, but he never actually says much even if you push him, save for his usual, on one hand, this could be true, while on the other, if you feel that the truth is close enough to touch, talk to Idiot. He'll confuse you completely in no time. One thing about him that I don't understand at all is what could he even be looking for fighting in the Order's ranks? Interesting. Alyosha, that's the American. Is he the American? Alyosha, the life of every party, an avid lady killer, favourite customer of the seediest joints of Svetnoy Boulevard, and our survival on the surface instructor. After only a cursory glance, he can correctly tell if an abandoned building can last for years, or is ready to collapse onto your head at the lightest touch, which ability saved him back in Moscow more than once. Alyosha is the only member of our crew seemingly taking our journey for an exciting adventure, probably anticipation of new meetings, with representatives of the fairer sex, of course. Sam. Is Sam the American? I think Sam's the American. Sam is one of the Order's best. He might not be the strongest, fastest, or the best marksman we have, but he can certainly hold his own in a match with Spartan champions in each of these areas. And he definitely is most unusual of us. Sam is an American, a Marine from the US Embassy's guard detail, who just happened to be in the Metro when the Judgment Day came, eventually ending up as Colonel Miller's personal bodyguard. Sam had to sit the battle for D6 out on the account of staying in a hospital with a serious wound, and was really hard on himself for not being there to protect the Colonel when he was needed the most. As soon as he was back on his feet... Still, all bandaged, Sam would refuse to leave the Colonel's side no matter what. He wouldn't even let anybody else push Miller's wheelchair. Even when Andrew the blacksmith made the amazing prosthetics that Colonel has been wearing ever since. Sam remained Miller's shadow, and of course joined us aboard the Aurora. all of us, the crew members, are going somewhere to some kind of destination, as Yermak puts it. Even though none of us know where that destination would be, Sam, though, seems to know the place. If the world outside the metro is not wiped out, there must be survivors in the US, and Sam can't stop thinking about his parents who might still be alive, waiting for their son. I wonder if he feels he's travelling in the right direction with us. While we were waiting for the Aurora's repairs to be completed, thinking on how to cross the river, Sam, in light of our constant mentions of occupying forces, hypnotised himself into believing that the Colonel didn't trust him. It must be heartbreaking to have served a commander for 20 years with unquestioning loyalty, only to be considered a traitor. But it must be equally heartbreaking to have become so close to your old enemy only to learn that your country might still be there after all. And if the war is still going on, whose side are you on, Sam? Who are you? Interesting. Stepan. In day-to-day life, Stepan is so calm and nice, it's hard to believe he's a member of the Order. We are a military organisation, after all. Once you see this giant in battle, though, you immediately see the reason for him being here. Stepan is completely fearless and amazingly strong. He handles a heavy machine gun as if it were a regular assault rifle. We're lucky to be on Stepan's side. Having him as an enemy would be a disaster. Right until meeting Katya, Stepan has never defied the Colonel, but when Miller didn't want to let the woman and her daughter board the Aurora, he started a real quarrel. The Colonel was noticeably thrown off, while the rest of us immediately understood what was going on. Still, as any good commander, Miller quickly saw through Stepan and let himself be talked into letting Katya and Nastya aboard. With this addition, Stepan was sure to never leave the crew. Tokarev, gunsmith. Tokarev, partial to the creations of the famous gun designer he shares the family name with, is a man in love with his craft. He's constantly busy with the crew's weapons, repairing, maintaining them, and making improvements. Tokarev knows everything there is to know about weapons and even more, and can talk about them for hours, but it's not really interested in much else. Still, he doesn't just care for our firepower, but also works on our gear, constantly adjusting and inventing new things, labouring day and night to make sure we all perform to the best of our ability without being hindered by inferior equipment. What would we do without him? On a side note, he seems to be quietly and hopelessly, unrequitedly in love with my Anna. He's always worried about her, thinking of her, talking about her, but I can't even bring myself to feel jealous. Interesting. Okay, Katya and Nastya. I can't really imagine what Katya and Nastya would have been through, and how they managed to keep their sanity, much less remain as optimistic as they are. A little girl and a tender woman proved to be tougher than fate, taking all the blows it could throw at them squarely, and these blows were many and mighty. They'd arrived at Volga with a group of migrants who were out on a quest for a better life. That quest ended with them finding a new faith, and their death along with it, of course. Solantius didn't kill anyone himself, he didn't even order anyone killed. Still, his holy ritual where an initiate must dispose of an electric anomaly to be accepted into the fold, how is it different from a murder in cold blood? It's no wonder that the Colonel let Stepan and Anna coax him into letting Katya and Nastya aboard the Aurora, even though there must be numerous dangers waiting for us. Still, I'd argue that these ladies are tougher than some battle-hardened troopers. Besides, Katya is a trained nurse and we will most probably need all the medical expertise we can get. And lastly, Crest. An avid storyteller, a talented mechanic and a natural-born adventurer who'd travelled all across the vast expanses of this threatening world of the surface, so alien to us, who'd been through hundreds of scuffles and struck thousands of deals, quite a few of which could well be of the less scrupulous sort. I don't know if Crest will be journeying with us for long, but I am not surprised he had such an easy time fitting in. Right from the start, he gave us a hand with fixing the Aurora, gave us the railcar he'd been using in his adventures, and then went with us on a mission to capture the tugboat, giving Duke and me the cover we needed to infiltrate the bridge. It's no wonder that even our usually cautious colonel had no second thoughts about welcoming Crest into the crew. Yeah, I mean, why couldn't we ask Crest about the occupation if he's been on the surface the whole time, right? Wow, there's a lot to read. Okay, I'll leave it there for the time being. Hello?
Over! That's just great. We'll all try later. Where? Why'd you cause us so much? How long has it been since you even arrived in Irkutsk? Not even 2 years.
You'd better reconsider your position on Meshnikov. Did you forget who started trading with the convicts from Zolotoy? Huh?
Well, that was Zakhar's idea, and Zakhar is the man. He crossed Baikal, alone. We'd sign up to anything he proposes at once. Well, Menshikov, I couldn't care less about.
Aren't you getting too big in your head? You're so cool now that the relay gang is off your case? Don't fall off that high horse.
Go to hell, Dan. All right. I can live with listening to Menshikov if you're so fond of him.
Enough of
Menshikov.
that shit already. The important part is that Irkutsk is still around, and you guys are too.
You're right. That is the important part. Well, give my regards to Menshikov. Over and out.
You devil. Over and out.
Menshikov, Irkutsk. Interesting. Hopefully I can read the rest later.
How long have we been on the road for?
Hey,
I've been listening to the radio too. And there was not a single transmission about any occupying force. There's so much regular chatter. So many stories. Dad says all those are coded transmissions, that they all have hidden meaning, but why would they be so secretive? Why aren't they using this railroad? Why don't they at least control its key junctions? Why did they not install any roadblocks? If they are even out here. This is the main transport artery, after all. Maybe they are not here at all. Maybe they never came here, or they are already gone. Though, where to? Remember? Neither Katya nor Crest have ever
Right.
met them.
yeah.
Though we seem to be doing just fine even without them. It's like Middle Ages. That Silantius is treating people like slaves, getting them killed. I can't believe they had it worse without his lies, nonsense, and human sacrifices. And us? We had been living down there for so many years, fighting each other. And nobody even thought you could live outside.
What does this hand imply?
You know, I had a talk with Katya. I'm sitting here recalling that bridge and those people there, and we've been sitting underground for 20 years. And they haven't. So what? These are not the same people who used to build cities, planes, and space rockets. They are just like us in Metro, only even more dejected.
Very true.
They are essentially slaves. For real. They work all day and pray all night. Always watched, always directed. Everything is under control. Everything is decided by the community. Well, I mean, Silantius. They don't even have any property. Even their socks belong to the community. They're just entranced with him, with his ridiculous lies about electricity. Of course, not everyone got fooled easily, but if they dare ask questions, they get penance, exorcising an electric demon with prayer and the cross. But that's a death sentence. How is a flashlight dangerous? Or a radio? But no, they shun it all. They hide and keep praying. How can you even make people believe this ridiculous garbage within just a few years?
Because they're desperate, Anna.
People in general start believing lies surprisingly easily, don't they?
When they're
As long
starving
as
to
those
death,
lies
yeah.
are convenient or at least familiar. Take us, in Metro. Alright, we haven't met the occupying forces yet. If we disregard that shirt I found on an antenna...
Uh-oh.
Katya and Crest, never met them either. But maybe they are still out there somewhere. And if they are, then they didn't even tell us about them back home. They didn't tell us that the war was still on. They just made us believe that there's no life anywhere outside of Metro.
Yeah,
They've
a lot
been
of them
lying
didn't
to
know,
us.
Anna.
Lying non-stop. All this time. Were their intentions good? Perhaps. But the Metro is a castle built on lies. Damn, am I angry. And so far, no matter how far we get, we haven't met a single enemy. Isn't that strange? But Father won't have a word of it. Stay vigilant, be careful, the enemy never sleeps. You know, I love my father. A whole lot, no matter what. But what if everything he's been told is just another layer of lies?
Yeah,
I
very
hope
likely.
we'll find out how deep this rabbit hole is once we get to Yamantau.
Yamantau. Oh, they were saying it
Well,
like that.
what do you know? I do feel better now after telling you. Thanks for hearing me out, Artyom. Let's just sit here a little.
Let's.
All right, run along. Dad wanted something.
Oh, I wasn't trying to get you to move. Bye, Anna. Right, hopefully I can come back to read the rest. Hey!
Uncle Artyom! Uncle Tokarev has already set his shop up!
Nice!
Wanna go look? It's so cool! Here,
Hey.
Uncle Artyom!
Ah, hi, Artyom. See my new place? Fit for a king, I must
Nice.
say. What do you think of this workbench, eh? Everything is within reach, yet there's so much space left. Most of the stuff you and the guys found outside and gave to me went into making this workshop happen. So thank you. We'll have to keep pitching in like this too. Looks like we're facing a long journey, and useful things like ammo or equipment don't grow on trees. Plus, the further from Moscow we get, the harder they'll probably be to get. So don't forget to collect all the materials you find to keep us going. There's
Yep.
so many things to do. I haven't decided where I'm going to work on the suits, but I'll have to, and soon.
Suits?
And it's high time we fixed our uniforms. Some of our people are starting
Oh,
to
right,
look
radiation.
pretty ragged, you know. Duke's plate carrier won't hold the back plate anymore, and he jokes that he's lucky it's not the front one, or else his toes would be in danger. Regardless, I am turning this little gang back into a real army. Well, that's it. I bragged enough and won't waste any more of your time. The Colonel summoned you. Well, I have stuff to do too. You guys are fast to break gear, but none too expedient to fix it.
Uncle Tokarev! Uncle Tokarev!
What would you like to ask, Nastya?
Uncle Tokarev, do you have a sewing machine?
Everything's
No,
clean.
I don't.
But how are you going to fix the suits then?
Well, like everyone else, I take a thread and a needle, and I use a sail stitch.
Wow, cool! Can you teach me?
I sure can, but later. I've got work to do.
Will you let me fix Sam's rifle strap?
Well, sure thing. Oh, but under supervision. Sam is so strict, you know.
Hurrah! And Uncle Sam isn't strict at all. He's kind.
All right, look here. I'll show you once. Now we do this.
I see.
Good work, Nastya. Hey, Crest. Bleed.
I've got to be
A smoke
careful.
break. That's good.
Yes.
Oh, this is one mean smoke. Damn, this is rough.
That's rough, блин.
Well, nothing we couldn't take.
Yeah. Straight in the lungs, блин.
Well, you are the right kind of guys. You, the Colonel, Duke, that guy did a swell job on that bridge. And now he's bragging about it like a child. He is a child, really. No, a child. But he's good. So, yeah, what did I want to say? Yes. Thank you. You people accepted me, and I'm a simple guy. I will pay the debt back, okay?
That's all good, Crest.
So, how do you like it out here after your tunnels? Freedom, huh?
Yeah, looks good, mate.
Sure thing. So much space. It feels too empty to me, though. Just reeds and ruins and those damn mutants. Hate them. Phew.
I'm gonna spend this whole episode on the Aurora chatting.
Now you guys are gonna see the government. So, bratucha, don't be mad, but just tell me, what the hell do you even need them for?
It's a secret.
Well, of course, it might be interesting to take a look, but throughout all of my rambling, I only met two kinds of ex-government people. Dead ones and gang leaders. And let me tell you, the latter are much worse than your typical bandit. They just have to make a speech before doing something awful. So what I mean, I didn't really care about the government even before the war, much less now, when
Fair enough.
everything's long since gone to shit. So what for, really? I'm a simple man, Artyomich. I told I'm with you. That means I'm with you for the long haul.
I appreciate
But
it,
I'd much
Crest.
rather find a nice place to live at than go see the government. Of course,
Yeah.
they could give us luxury bunkers or something. Well, Artyom, you seem cold. Go get warmed up a bit. I'll smoke some more. I've stuff to think about.
All right, buddy.
Or just stay. We have enough space now.
Thanks, Crest. I like Crest.
Don't rush it here.
Have fun,
I
guys.
see.
Oh, hello. I missed a lot of books. A lot of books. Nastia's letter. Dear Daddy. I write this so you know where... Where? You know where to look for Mummy and me when you come back. Because Mummy and I wanted to stay, but Silentius said we must go to the tower and leave this car, and I didn't want to. I wanted to wait for you in the car, but Mummy said I can't. And Silentius said you won't come back because you failed the test of faith. He's a stupid liar because you never needed any tests as their faith is dumb. I remember you said so. Mummy said nothing, but I know she's waiting for you too. So please come back soon and take us away from these fools. I love you very much, Nastia. I don't know. I mean, we obviously heard his tape. It's a shame we can't. I mean, maybe it's for the best that we don't tell them what happened
I've
to
got to
him.
be careful here. See?
Got that.
What have we got in here? Miller's room. Yeah, this whole episode's just going to be exposition. Oh, he's got the guitar!
Come on in, have a seat.
Yes.
Stefan's putting on a live performance here.
Awesome.
So, Artyom, are you up for a jam?
Yeah.
Come on, pick the guitar up.
The guitar. Awesome. Oh, we're jamming, guys. What do you think, guys? Could I rock the goatee? I don't know. Never looks right on white guys, you know? if it's a long one though, if it's like a metalhead goatee, I think you're all right. I think Stepan's got the right idea with it being a bit longer. I think if you've got like a short, like stubbly goatee, then it looks shite. But last time I shaved my beard off, I shaved it off in phases, you know.
Thank you, Stepan.
And I left the goatee on at one point. I actually quite liked it, like the long goatee.
I'm sorry to ask, Katya, but Nastya's father, he's dead, isn't he? Does Nastya know?
He is. I tried
Okay, she
keeping it a
knows.
secret. Told her he left for the market. Around 3 days passed, and I still kept it in. I just sat there with a needle in my hand and didn't see anything. It was all black before my eyes. And then she snuggles up to me and says, "You should cry, Ma. You will feel better." Sini used to say it. So I cried and cried. She knows. She knows it all.
Right.
I'm sorry, Katya. I'm so sorry.
Let me tell you how we ended up at the bridge. We used to live in northeast from here, quite close if you go in a straight line. But it took us a month. Everything's bombed to rubble out there. Yermak asked me and I told him. Sini used to say there were lots of military factories out there. Not just military, of course. General industry. And now you can't pass through there even with filters. The radiation is so high. No railway either, just crater upon crater. We were quite far, but our counter still went crazy. One route appeared intact. There was nothing to bomb. So we used that one, thinking we'd get further to the west, but of course they did not let us cross the bridge with the diesel. They said it was satanic. They were ready to let us stay if we gave them the diesel to cleanse it. So we stayed. And then we couldn't leave, even if we wanted. That old goat, Father Silentius, brainwashed everyone, so they would just pray and bow non-stop. They broke our diesel down with their bare hands and threw it into the river. Purification. And on top of it, they gave us trouble for not helping them. Ksenia went to check what was going on, and there were only locals there, because Silentius at the Skatina had sent our people away to test them. He said that if they wanted to be truly accepted, they had to defeat a demon. Ksenia went to stop them. But it was too late. She only found burnt rags. And then they sent him to do the same. He never came back.
Katya, I'm sorry. I didn't know.
Well, you really didn't. What's done is done.
All those bodies we found were their
I
traveling
kinda got so glum in here.
companions.
Perhaps you, Stepan, could play us something.
Yeah.
Sure thing.
You guys have a nice jam. Yeah, so all those people we found who were meant to get the electricity rods were all from their group.
Stop it already! Well, what did you expect? So, what's up with your plate carrier? Tokarev was mad. It's a long story.
Artyom, the car was waiting for you on the bridge.
Well, there I am, sitting on a beam, looking at Artyom milling about below.
Oh, you are so full of it. Artyom did most of the work.
That he did, yeah, he did. But you don't have to interrupt my lies. You asked me about the Vest yourselves. Alright, go on.
That's Sam.
So I see Artyom get to the door, and I think it's time I came down. So I do. But something just holds on to me. What does? How should I know? It's dark, nobody around. But I can't move. and those locals kept going on about Tsar something. So I thought I was in a kind of a bind. So I just unfastened the safety and leapt down. There was that shed down there. The roof was kind of close.
And what about the Tsar?
Oh, blue, the Tsar was huge, scary as shit. And there was this rusty bolt, and my carrier got snagged on it.
Well, you, Duke, are lucky you already have a nickname.
That's hilarious. And what was next?
Oh, next. Next we jumped that old preacher of theirs. Well, Artyom did most of it. He swooped in like a hawk. Yeah, he's good. While I was clamoring about those beams and fighting the Tsar. Oh, I'm killing myself. Well, he basically solved the whole problem.
True that. Good job, Artyom.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, you both did well. Crest also.
Sure, he did a swell job distracting those guards. I almost wet my pants with laughter when they started hauling that timber. He's an artist.
Yeah, he's a great guy. You all came out on top of the game.
And that calls for what?
A drink.
You nailed it. You truly are one of us now, Sam. Will you be joining us?
Yeah.
Nah, not now. I'll have some at dinner.
Hey, boys.
Well, you'll have to catch up then.
Sure thing. Anyways, we will just have a little as a warm-up now.
Yes. Oppa!
Great!
That's some good stuff.
Oh, yeah. Stings the nostrils.
Hey guys, there's something I've been thinking about. What does everyone expect of this trip?
Personally, I want to come back and tell Sveta of my adventures, so that she'd look at me with her huge gray eyes without blinking and keep saying, "You're such a hero, darling."
So you're expecting heroics and scars. That works.
And why did you come?
Well, my heart is aching for true romance. But in the metro, all women want a solid relationship, a reliable husband, a real provider.
No face tattoos.
Enough of that smug smile. It's unbearable. Not that I've had much better luck here so far. As soon as Katya came aboard, Stepan started cooling
that's
around
true.
her like a peacock.
You should be happy. Katya is a tough girl. You'd be under her thumb in no time.
That's true, Demir.
That is unlikely. I'm not the kind of man to upstage his friend in a contest for a lady. Especially when that friend promises to break my arm.
Privyet. I don't know what privyet means.
I'll catch my stroke of luck soon enough. There in Yamantau, women from all over the country have already gathered, waiting for yours truly. How about you, Demir? What made you go?
Well, at first I just went along with you guys, the colonel. But even then I thought, this is my chance to make my dream come true.
Oh, he's from
A chance to
Kazakhstan.
see Kazakhstan, my people. But first, we must come back to Moscow, because it isn't fair. People must know that they've put up with enough. They are free. They can live outside now.
Not so easy, though.
What do you think about that, idiot?
I'm with you, Demir. Yet, freedom is not so simple.
Yeah, it needs
There was
structure.
this freedom fighter, Che Guevara. He died under 40. Comrade Mao, whose book you've been perusing on the other hand, was a strict ruler but lived a long life.
Well, we should have expected that from you.
Weird thing, though, is that you are called idiot.
I know. It's by his own choice. Because he's so fond of Chekhov.
Chekhov too, of course. But it's Dostoevsky for the most part, Sam, my friend.
Sure, I read the book too. It's just that I mix them up a lot. Chekhov wrote about that son of Austerlitz, a wounded officer. Powerful imagery.
You are just killing me. How about you, Uncle Sam? Got dreams?
You know, I just want to ride my board again. Spark a joint up on a beach. Catch that wave. Deep inside, under a grizzled metro dweller, there's still a relaxed Californian inside me.
All right, buddy.
Ah, get out of here!
So you know, before Dad talked me into joining the Corps, I used to wear my hair long. He told me they'd make a decent citizen out of the total disappointment that I was, and sent me to college once I was discharged. I joined, and they sent me to the Middle East.
Wow, so do you hope your guys would pick you up? I don't see them around.
Yeah, I don't hold my breath for my guys. Once this mission's over, I'll submit my discharge papers. I'll reach the ocean, and there, find a ship maybe?
Oh yeah, just imagine it. You arrive on that ship, and they go like... Ah, the Russians are coming! You are one of us now. You don't really need to go anywhere.
At least don't put your Ushanka on. They will sink you on sight.
I won't, though I will take my balalaika with me.
Balalaika.
Well... Who has any expectations for our reception at Yamantau?
Not going to be good.
Well, your expectations, Alyosha, are quite obvious, huh? Scantily clad junior officer ladies unrolling the red carpet.
We all need dreams.
Yeah, I'm a simple guy. How about you guys?
Well, I hope they will answer a few questions. For example, if there is not a single American within hundreds of miles from Moscow, save for our friend Samuel here, why stay underground?
I'd put it a bit differently. Did you, dearest High Command gentlemen, know that we in Moscow had to spend 20 years underground?
Oh, by all means, you can ask those while I'm enjoying my briefing with the junior officer ladies, huh?
I don't know. I'm in the mood for a road trip.
Oh, we got ourselves a true traveler here.
Yeah, we will have to live and see.
Very true, Demir.
You are right.
I mean, they're keeping the metro. They're using the lie so because they think that if the Americans discover an organized life in Moscow again, you know, not just random survivors in the wilderness, organized life with like some sort of governing body, that they'll bomb them again. All right, chaps, lovely talking to you. This episode is an hour long already. What the hell? What was that button prompt? Got the shower. Hey, bunnies. So, fellas, let's go talk to Miserable Miller. This whole episode's been on the Aurora.
Come here, Artyom. Listen. I had a talk with the Ark. All thanks to Tokarev. He got the decoder working.
Ark, come in. Come in, Ark. Over. This is Ark? Identify yourself. Over.
Oh, that didn't sound right.
This is Colonel Sviatoslav Myelnikov speaking. I'm in command of a special operations force. We have received your signal and are
This
currently
isn't them.
heading your way. Do you copy? Over. Yes. Hear you loud and clear. Who am I talking to?
Are you
How do I
serious?
address you? Deputy Chief of Communications Department.
He's making this up.
A moment.
Are This isn't there, Miller. Don't tell me you fell for
I
this.
understand that the checkup is in
Oh,
order.
you idiot, Miller.
Great, Colonel. Melnikov? Simply capital. I am sorry for the lack of trust, but as you know, the situation is dire and the enemy is always ready to strike. I do understand, Major, and I hope that you can tell the leadership that my people are true to their duty and will be at their full disposal as soon as we arrive. Over. Thank you for the great news. How large is your force, Colonel? I have a squad of the best operatives the special forces
Miller,
have to offer.
how could you fall for this?
A squad?
This is comedic.
I see. Well, this is great. Great. Yes, we aren't a large force, but we bring a message of extreme importance. We are heading towards you from Sector K6 Alpha. Do you have any data on enemy forces we might encounter on the way? Over. In just a moment, I have to check. K6 Alpha, you say? As far as I can see, there have been no enemy encounters reported in the area, Colonel. I regret. I must end our conversation here, but know that we are waiting for your arrival. I am making my report immediately,
We
and
are
I am
waiting
sure
for
the
your
Minister of
arrival.
Defense will be eager to see you. This is a great honor. Thank you.
Miller, you must have been
Just a few
faking
words
it,
more,
dude.
though. What is the general situation there, Major? Please. Colonel, sir, you do understand this is classified information. But I do understand you. We are doing fine. Do not worry. Well, see you in the Ark. Over and out. I serve the people.
Oh, you
Over and out.
numpty Miller. Don't tell me you fell for that.
Do you get this now, you doubting Thomas? I'm so excited, my hands are
I can't
still
believe
shaking.
this. No, how?
The minister himself! This is incredible!
It's not him,
By the way,
you
Artyom,
fool.
you should take a look at the map.
You utter fool.
As you can see, we are heading almost straight for the Yamantau complex. Katya and Crest tell me that the line there is in decent condition. Surprising, really, taking into account the number of priority targets there. So we can hope for smooth sailing from here, and right to the very destination. It's not even that far, but our speed depends on the state of the track. So I think it's going to take us quite some time to get there. So, Yermak, where were we?
You were saying, it's all about results.
Ah, yes. These soft-bellied attitudes must stop. The ends do justify the means.
Well, I don't object. But not all ends can be called just.
Exactly. And this is why I have been waiting for a chance like this for ages. And now everything seems to be coming together. It's the government. Don't you understand?
Oh, can we slap Miller?
Oh, but of course.
You don't seem to quite grasp the importance, which is unexpected, especially after the news you just heard.
Alright,
Yes, well, say there is a government. So what? We spent so many years apart, so why worry now?
Ah, but don't you see? They probably knew nothing about us. With the sheer power of enemy strikes directed at Moscow, they never expected so many of us to survive. And now we get to tell them Moscow still lives. And not only that, it also preserved a functioning civilization. Do you get that? All these years we were fighting a losing battle for mere survival. And now we have a new goal.
And what would that goal be?
You don't get this, do you? The command center should have all of the command and control networks, all the intelligence. They should know where all the nukes hit, have complete fallout maps. They have everything. Information rules the world. And Metro is chock full of people. Put two and two together, we could repopulate the country. Yeah, of course, not at once. First, we might have to take the country back. But we'll be doing this under the direction of a real government. People with all the necessary skills. And in the end, we will break out of the underground dead end we are in.
I mean, I like that part, but...
It would be nice, sure. By the way, I meant to ask for some time now. How did you learn about the Yamantau bunker, Colonel?
Oh, the information about the Ark project I have is beyond a doubt. I'm saying this as a GRU officer. I had colleagues working there, preparing evacuation plans. So I've been briefed into it officially.
So, now we just have to get there. And we will. We will. The journey won't be easy, though.
We were never looking for an easy way.
Yes. I've been thinking about that for a long time. The Central Industrial District, a priority target. Katya did confirm my suspicions. The tracks might have survived partially, but the state they're in now is most likely terrible. I think we'll have to fix sections of the track.
I think our people can handle it. Besides, I'm sure there will be sidetracks.
Yep.
What do you think could have happened in the relatively intact territories in the meantime?
That's a good question.
We're going to run into that
Well,
idiot of that
we are going to
goofball
learn
of the
it pretty
radio.
soon.
Yes. Yes, that we will.
Alright guys, what I think I'll do, I'm just going to save it here. Hey, get out of my face, Miller. I'm going to, the next episode, I'm just going to read the rest of those diary entries, and then we'll grab the map and progress events. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this one,
let us
guys.
talk business for a change. Namely, the engine status.
Alright.
How much time will it take to refill the water tank from now on?
Okay.
Around 3 hours if we don't have to clean the filters.
Do we have any spares, just in case?
We do, but not the whole set. Just the rough one.
It's a bit of a rough one. Alright guys, yeah, I'll gonna leave that episode there. Tons of information just in terms of our crewmates, about Anna, about with Artyom's diary entry, about his feelings on the whole situation, and I just wish that radio call that Miller just had with the fake government, that guy who answered the radio, who's obviously a bandit leader or bandit member. Why? I just wish they wouldn't have voice acted it so, you know, over the top, a bit campy, you know, like, oh, this is Colonel yes, this is the Ark. You know, they could have made it a bit more convincing so that the player would have been left in two minds as well, but yeah, never mind. So next episode, I'll read the rest of the diary entries and we'll progress things. We'll move on. Yeah, I really like stuff like this where we just get to soak in stuff, get to know our crew a bit more. So yeah, hope you enjoyed it. Leave me a like if you did. Just remember, everyone, never trust an on-crate. I'll see you back on the Aurora.